Okay, good morning, everyone. It's 10 a.m. Let's call this meeting to order for commissioning for February 13th, 2024 in the Polk County Regional Health Building, Suite A. If you haven't already done so, would you please mute all your cell phones and any other devices? And at this time, we would like to ask Sunny Hathaway from Central Baptist Church to come lead us in prayer.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Hey, let me just read this one verse of scripture, and I'm going to pray for y'all this morning. It says, this is Proverbs 10:14, where there is no guidance, a people falls, but in an abundance of counselors there is safety. And I just want to thank you, every one of you, for all the work you do in our community. And let's just pray for God's will here this morning. God, I thank you for the time that we have to be together this morning. We thank you, Lord, for this court. I thank you for Judge Murphy. I thank you for the many who take care of our community and our city and our county. Thank you for the individuals that keep our county safe, also make wise and good decisions for our people. And Father, I just pray that your blessing and your hand would be upon the decisions today, that there would be an abundance of wisdom that is brought forth today through the decisions that need to be made. And we just pray that your hand would be upon every individual, every conversation, that it would be pleasing to you. Thank you that you are a God of justice in every way, and you give wisdom for us as finite people here on earth, God. Thank you. Pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Madam Clerk?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Do we have anyone for public comments?
I didn't receive anything of it.
Okay, I'm going to take some executive privilege. So, Commissioner Cassidy, there were several employees that thought that your new employee that assisted you during the flooding needed to receive some consideration. And so that is a gift. It's your very own beaver.
I won't even go
You
there.
need to take it out.
Everybody needs to see this.
You need to take it out and show everyone your new employee.
No news, people. Predator, they call dog. Hey, when Bucky's doing.
That's his problem employee. Okay.
That's not a Bucky beaver, that's a Moscow store beaver.
And who knows, it's a TY Beanie Baby, it may be worth a lot of money
It could
one day.
be.
Okay, number 3, informational reports. 2024 Wellness Committee Award, honorable mention. We've had people that attended the conference, Jessica and Jennifer. And we just wanted to report to everybody that we were recognized. And also, we received from TAC the 2024 Most Improved Participation Award. So their efforts to get more of our employees involved is paying off. So hopefully we will continue to see an upward trend. Do you have anything you want to add to that? No? Okay, item number 4, new business, the consent agenda. You have an addendum on B in the amount of $145,803.47. And we need to table the minutes for February the 6th, 2024. Is there anything that anybody wishes to pull from the consent agenda?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve, Commissioner Purvis, second Commissioner Cassidy. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5, consider approval of personnel matters as follows. We have one emergency hire, and that's in HR. So on item A, 5A, discuss and consider approval of personnel management system updates. The Sheriff Office has revised several job descriptions to ensure that the duties that certain officers are already doing make them eligible for the Rural Law Enforcement Grant, which is SB 22, and that all of that is included in the job descriptions. They have also created a job description for the cadet position and are requesting the court's approval on that. All of that information was included in your packet. And also you have a list of the job descriptions, which is everything from the kennel attendant, modifications for pay group from 112 to 115, and from 115 to 117, where some of those positions got moved, which would be the bailiffs and the senior bailiffs. Is there anything you want to add to that, Sheriff? That pretty much covered? Anyone have any questions? Motion to approve?
Approved.
Motion to approve, Commissioner Duvo,
Second.
second. Commissioner Purvis, all in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Book 2 updates. Human Resources has been working to ensure that our personnel management system includes information that is required by law. To that end, they've updated Section 1, which is general policies, to include the Safe Harbor Act. They have also updated Section 2.14, which is a social media, to add social media application and services prohibited on county devices. TikTok is not permitted on any government-issued devices in the state of Texas, so that has been updated. HR has also included an update to the travel expense reimbursement policy, which increases our meals. We're recommending an increase to the maximum per diem rate from $50 a day to $60 a day. And the breakdown would be 15 for breakfast, 20 for lunch, and 25 for dinner. All of that's included in your packet as well. Motion to approve, Commissioner Dugas.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Cassidy. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. 5B, review and consideration of personnel action form requests submitted since the last meeting and review of any authorized emergency hiring. We had one emergency hire, and that was in HR. We included all the preliminary listing of the PAFs that have been submitted to date. So I need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Commissioner Cassidy, second Commissioner Robertson. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 6, consider request for revisions and amendments to the budget as follows. A, the FY 2024 budget revisions and amendments as presented by the County Auditor's Office. A copy of proposed revisions number 2024-7 and amendments 2024-7A is included for your review in your packet.
So moved.
Motion to approve, Commissioner Purvis, second Commissioner Cassidy. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 7, consider order authorizing the sale of fireworks during the Texas Independence Day period of February 25th through midnight of March 2nd, 2024. A copy of the proposed order is included for your review. Previous law required the court action to restrict or prohibit sales during certain times of the year when drought conditions are present. The new law allows the court discretion to allow fireworks sales during the holiday period. So we have to do an order to allow that, and then we've asked the fire marshal to visit with local fire departments and the Texas Forest Service. And after this past weekend, I don't think we have any concerns at this time.
I think we're good to go.
Okay, motion to approve, Commissioner Dubos.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Cassidy. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 8, consider amendment to tax abatement agreement between Polk County and Lone Spur Solar Energy LLC. On September 28th, 2021, the court approved a tax abatement agreement with Lone Spur Solar authorizing the abatement of 100% of ad valorem property taxes levied by the county on improvements and facilities in exchange for payment in lieu of taxes, which is pilot during the abatement period. In the original agreement, Lone Spur was expected to have all improvements substantially completed by December 2024 for an abatement period of 2025 to 2034, and an annual amount to be paid to the county during those years in the amount of $58,800. For reasons beyond their control, Lone Spur Solar will not be able to complete the project by the end of this year, and they have requested an extension of the construction deadline and the abatement period. Senior Manager Troy Reed is here if anybody has any questions. The amendment has gone through legal counsel, through our legal counsel, has gone through their organization as well, so we've jumped through all the hoops. The amendment included for your review would grant in exchange for a one-time payment to Polk County of $25,000, a one-year extension with an option to further extend to 12/31/2026 at no added cost. In the event they have to delay further, beyond that deadline, then they would grant that in exchange for an additional payment of $50,000, and they would have a final option to extend out to 2028. If they take that final extension, the annual pilot owed to the county beginning in January 2029 would increase from $58,800 to $64,680, which is a 10% increase. All of this has been reviewed by legal counsel.
Okay, so he would pay, what, 58,000 now
No,
to extend it?
No, sir. They would have a one-time payment of 25,000
$25,000 to
Yes.
extend it
for a one-year
for
extension.
1 year.
And that allows them basically 2 years.
Right, to the end of
Correct.
27.
Yes,
Right. And at that cost and nothing else?
correct.
Okay.
And then if they go beyond that, then the additional payment would be 50,000. And then that would extend it out to 12/31/2028.
Gotcha. Okay. I make a motion to approve it, I don't have a problem.
Okay?
I'll second.
Commissioner Cassidy, Commissioner Robertson, any further questions? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 9, consider resolutions for TxDOT off-system bridge replacement program. TxDOT has expressed a need for 2 bridge projects and has requested the court's approval on their resolutions. The projects are Wilson Lake Estates Road at West Fort for Double Branch Creek and Andrew Jackson Drive at Menard Creek, both of which are in precinct 4. Commissioner Cassidy?
Make a motion to approve it.
Second.
Commissioner Cassidy approves.
I'd just like to point out though, on here it says TxDOT plans to replace the bridge at no cost to Polk County. We have a 10% match on these bridges.
Okay.
That does, so, I mean, we don't actually have to spend money, but we do have.
Oh,
we do
yes,
have- we
in
do have-
kind. We
yeah.
have to make a 10% in
In-kind
kind.
match,
Yes,
I mean, so we do have to, furnish a little bit for them.
yes.
And just like on one, that they're gonna start here pretty soon, and I won't name no name, but the people, they're even nice enough to donate that easement to the land to reroute that bridge.
Yeah.
So, that's just a
These are,
compliment to
these are
Polk
great,
County
these are great
citizens.
deals for the county.
Yes. It's
I
good.
mean, it's-
Well, and for the most part, the people of Polk County are willing to cooperate. Every
Yes.
now and then, we run into someone that's a little difficult.
No, it's a great program.
Yes.
Okay, so I have a motion, Commissioner Cassidy, second Commissioner Dubus, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 10, consider any and all necessary action regarding expenditure from the maintenance capital outlay buildings, which is budgeted funds for replacement of water circulating pump at the Dunbar complex, not to exceed $15,000. The chiller at the Dunbar complex, which serves adult probation, is no longer working properly. A copy of the proposal, which is in the amount of $9,222.45, which is to replace this pump, is included for your review. However, Johnson Controls has some concerns that there may be some additional issues that they may run into when they do start the work. And so maintenance is requesting that we give them a not-to-exceed budget of $15,000 for the repair.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Commissioner Robertson,
Second.
second Commissioner Cassidy. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 11, consider any and all necessary action regarding the flock system for the sheriff's office to include acceptance of a donation in the amount of $30,000. Sheriff Byron Lyons has requested this agenda item, and a copy of the provided documentation is included for your review. His office has received a donation of $30,000 for the purchase of a flock safety system, which he is requesting that the court accept. This is a license plate recognition camera system that captures objective vehicle data needed to solve and prevent crimes. The total cost for the first 2 years of this program is $31,600. The $30,000 donation covers 95% of it, and the sheriff will provide the remaining $1,600 from his current budget.
Approved.
Commissioner Dubus,
Second.
second Commissioner Cassidy. Sheriff, do you want to add anything to that?
That covers it. Thank you.
Not a problem. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 12, here's the sheriff again. So a copy of his request is included for your review. In April of 2018, the court approved the purchase of a Kubota mower in the amount of $5,467 for the inmate work crew, which was included on the FY 2018 capital purchase projection listing and approved for inclusion on the reimbursement resolution. In May 2019, the court approved the purchase of a mower in the amount of $9,699, which had not been included in the FY 2019 budget or capital purchase projection. The court agreed to purchase it and split the cost evenly among the 4 precinct commissioners. So the mowers that are being requested now were not included in their request for the 2024 budget or capital purchase projection, so we will need to determine the method of funding. We have received, the jail administrator has provided quotes from Lansdowne Moody and from Livingston Lawn and Garden, and the information is there for you to review. Lansdowne Moody quoted a Kubota for $13,500 and a Skag, I don't know what that is, for $12,900 for a total of $26,400. Livingston Lawn and Garden quoted 2 gravelly mowers in the amount of $7,999, commercial engine, and $5,995. What is the court's pleasure?
Well, the $79.99 is gonna be actually for 2,
$16,000.
yeah, $16,000 total.
Two
Yeah,
breakers,
total.
commercial.
Yes, sir.
And the prices are gonna be, like I say, is a little bit more for these lawnmowers than we normally have had in the past. I found out that those other mowers we purchased were just regular residential mowers, and that's why they were just in and out of the shops constantly, because they are used a lot. So we felt that moving up to the commercial brand mowers would give us more life in the mowers, and especially also would keep them out of the shop as much.
So they're all 0 turn, but you
Yes,
just need 2.
yes, we just need
So,
2.
so you want neither Lansdowne Moody or Livingston Lawn and Garden?
Livingston Lawn and Garden is the one who gave the better bid, that's the one that we're recommending.
And they're heavy duty enough?
Yes, ma'am.
Now I just figure out how to pay for it.
Yeah. Yes,
Something like that.
yeah.
So basically we're talking $15,998 for two commercial.
Correct.
2 more.
16 so, probably.
For gravely, that's commercial.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I'm gonna make a motion to do it, but pull out general fund.
Second.
Very well. Commissioner Cassidy, second Commissioner Purvis. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And then one of the things that, for the court, and what I would like to be able to do is from here on out, so that you're not shocked or surprised at the last minute with a purchase like this, is that when we feel like that we're gonna need to purchase mowers like this again, that it'll be placed into the budget process.
Yes, sir, that,
we do that.
and that was the only thing I was gonna request is,
And these should last.
after court, I was gonna say, can we just make sure we include this in
It's in the budget.
And these should last 5 or 6 years.
Exactly.
So, being commercial.
Exactly.
That will work.
Right, thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you.
Item number 13, discuss and consider requests for up to 4 additional reserve deputy constable positions for precinct 2. Commissioner Dubus has requested this agenda item at Constable Cunningham's request for providing more law enforcement in that precinct. Constables in precincts 1, 3, and 4 each currently have 6 reserve deputy positions. Constable Cunningham has 10, because 4 were added in 2022, and 9 of those positions are filled. Commissioner Dupos is requesting that the court consider the additional reserves may be added at no cost to the county. While we do currently provide workers' compensation for reserves, the law does not require that. And the blanket bond covers all reserves, no matter how many we have. Also, per the commissioner, reserve deputy constables may be required to pay for their uniform, transportation, fuel, equipment, and supplies, and need not impact the county budget. Commissioner Dubus, you wanna add to that, or you wanna let Mr.
Well, Bill,
Cunningham?
I'd let Bill, Constable Cunningham.
Well, I mean, do you have any
Do his
questions about
presentation.
that? The only thing is that will affect the budget is the fuel will be. But I mean, I've got plenty of money in our account to take care of that. And
Okay, because that.
I won't be requesting more for that.
Okay, well,
Uh,
that impact will have to be limited.
Yeah,
in
it
terms
is,
of the budget.
and the one thing about it is like right now, with the 9 deputies that I have, or 8 slots that are actually filled, we have every Tuesday, every Thursday covered at our courthouse. So the statute says that we have to cover court every time it's in session. So I wanna ramp up to where I have a deputy every day of the week, 5 days a week. So eventually, I mean, I'll probably be asking for more, but I've been doing it in steps to show y'all that we can take care of our business. Our guys do come out and work. Commissioner sees it all the time, so, I mean, it's pretty easy for him to see it. So, 4 more, that would give me 1 more day a week. I mean, yeah,
Coverage,
one more
yeah.
day a week to have it filled. So our JP can have court 3 times a week. And then I'm there on the other days, so it doesn't really matter. But if, like today, I have a deputy at court in precinct 2, and I'm here. So if I'm out of pocket, I've got somebody in the office at all times. That's where we're trying to get to.
And that's fine. I just have one concern about this. Do we really want people out there working and not provide them more workers' comp? I think
That
as a
is,
county,
that's
I
just a
think-
way to get where we need to be.
I know.
We can also, we talked about having the reserve make that payment.
Well, I think
Or
I
if
think
they-
I would
if-
feel uncomfortable having someone working for the county and not providing them workers' comp when they are providing a service to the county.
I agree with that, but if,
After checking into everything and stuff like that too, also, only to carry workman's comp on one officer is only $138 annually, and stuff like that. So, I mean, and that's really
Per officer.
nothing per officer.
Per officer.
right,
You know,
but
so
another
it's
thing is, and I don't know who to talk to about this, but since they only work 1 day a month, 1 full shift a month, is there a way to negotiate something for that workman's comp?
I don't know, we would have to research that. I think mainly what I want is I want the court to give us some guidance on that, because I would prefer not to have someone that's representing the county and not have workers' comp,
Okay.
should something happen.
Right.
You know, whether it's $138 or less or more, you know, in terms of how long they're at work per se.
Right.
And the fuel would only be when they are providing service.
That
because
fuel's
they're
gonna be burned
have-
regardless whether I have 8 deputies or 20.
Yes, sir, and that's my point.
That won't
because
change, because they're
not
gonna be
get
mainly
fuel.
for court and out serving papers, serving warrants.
Yes, sir,
Those are
and
the-
so you're not gonna have, I mean, they're not gonna be provided compensation for driving into
No.
work, because that's the IRS. You know, so the fuel should not be impacted a whole lot.
Right.
So, but I would like the court to consider going ahead and providing workers' comp to these individuals, even if it is just one day out of the month that they're providing service.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it, because you can sign all you want to and say the county's not liable. But in
The
today's
law
world,
sta-
but in today's world, we know whoever's there, whoever happens to have just one little finger in the pie, they're gonna be considered
Come to
liable.
us.
Right, I'm just saying
So,
that
you know,
86.012
Yeah.
of the local
Yeah.
government code, it states that the county and the constable is not are not liable
Yeah.
for injury. But I mean, it's great that we could do that, or
Yeah.
can.
So each one of the guys you got now working at least 1 full day a month? Is that
Yes.
what you just said, Jamal?
Yes, and most of my guys are retired from somewhere,
Right.
so, we're, you know, they've got all their classes, they've got everything they need, the training, everything. So,
Okay.
But we will do the workman's comp.
Yes, I would like to. It's up to the
I've got no
court to
problem.
decide.
and if we
of
need
course,
to take that out of my
will-
budget this year for the additional 4, I mean, we can do that. I've got the
No.
money in the budget to do it this
Well, I don't
year.
think
Well, then-
$138 annually per officer. was-
Well, no, I'm just saying, I'm just throwing it out there, if it's gonna affect,
Well, he's saying it because his budget is fixed.
right,
And so we will work through that,
okay.
I guess is my point. But I just don't want anyone out there providing services that is not getting workers' comp.
I appreciate that's great.
Yeah.
So Commissioner Dubose,
My motion to approve
motion to approve with workers' comp.
with
For the
workman's
record.
comp, yes.
Okay, Commissioner Dubose, second Commissioner Purvis. Any further discussion or questions? All in favor say aye.
Thank
Any
you.
opposed? Thank you. Okay, now here comes your marathon workshop. So first of all, I want to say thank you
Go ahead and table
to,
it now or what?
I want to say thank you because these were issues that had come up previously, basically for a year now, either through the auditor's office or the treasurer's office or HR or grants and contracts, multiple areas. And so some of these things we do need to make a decision today about, but some of these things are just fuel for thought. So I'm gonna follow, all of you should have gotten a cheat sheet also.
What we got to decide today?
Vern might have to explain
Let's-
this in black and white English.
It is, listen, I do not profess to be an HR specialist, so thank goodness we have Fern and her team, because she has navigated the waters. So let me just give you a little bit of an update. We had a complaint, and it went to the Department of Labor. It was one of the sheriff's office employees, but the sheriff office passed in glowing colors, and so did HR. But it was nip and tuck. So the Department of Labor has audited all of our policies and procedures, and in some cases, we're like, really? None of this has changed since the 90s? Maybe it's time to revamp these things. So, this is the beginning of it. So let's start with 14A, Grant Policies and Procedures Manual. So again, during an audit of grants from the governor's office that fund personnel for the sheriff and the district attorney, they've requested an updated grant policies and procedural manual for establishing new grants and grant renewals. I sat in with Lewis, with our discussion with the individual that was reviewing that information, and basically, the auditor's office got nitpicked to death. As far as I'm concerned, a lot of that information was unwarranted. So Lewis has drafted the manual, which is included for your review, and is requesting the court's approval. So we may submit it to the governor's office, because this is the last item necessary to close the audit. And it reflects the procedures that are already in place. Basically, a lot of those procedures are already in place. We fine-tuned it a little bit, and we just need to get it going.
So moved.
So there's your first one.
I'll
Commissioner Purvis, Commissioner Robertson, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, Lewis, you're free to move about the country now.
Thank you.
Okay, item B, purchasing and credit card policy. Basically, this is a issue that we had discussed previously about now, the credit card statements are basically a ream of paper, that's with close to $40,000 worth of expenses that come in. And so we've got to streamline that, and we've got to get back to the original intention. And so Nicole, our new purchasing department, has gone through working on this policy, along with the auditor, along with our office, trying to streamline it. And basically what it's intended to do is this is only for general fund. Because those are the departments that are multi-layered departments, right? Where we have several elected officials working. So basically, all we're trying to do is get back to the original intention. And so, the purchasing department will now have control of the credit cards instead of the auditor's office. Because part of what has been happening to the auditor is that then they have to screen and see what are eligible expenses. And then inevitably, people don't turn in their receipts, they don't have this, they don't have that. And so this will streamline it completely and get it off of the auditor's office desk. The auditor's office will still review those things and audit the information, but they will no longer be responsible for chasing down receipts and chasing people down. So it gives you the criteria for the receipts, it streamlines the process to save time, creates an authorization form so that we don't have people saying, well, I don't know who has the credit card for my department. Yes, I checked it out, but I don't know who has it. So then you'd have to sign off on who has that credit card for the county.
Before I put a vote in on this, and I think I'm for this, I think. But I wanna make certain I understand it very well, because it's a lot easier for me to table this for a couple of weeks than it is trying to go back to it. So I'm gonna make a motion to table B.
Well,
So
any
2
of
weeks
these
from now,
things-
investigate this a little more, and then go from there.
Okay, any of these things can be tweaked, should we need it,
Okay.
okay? But part of it is that, like Nicole, when we hired her to do the purchasing, that is what, so we hired them, you know, to do that kind of work, so that we are not involved in micromanaging. So, that's fine if you wanna table it, but I'm saying it's gonna become very cumbersome if every time we ask professionals to do something, we table it for 2 weeks.
Well, I'm gonna motion to table it for
Okay.
2 weeks. And
Very
like I
well.
said, from what I see of it, I'm probably fine with it, but I will make certain
That's
before
fine.
I go any further.
Could we make a motion to tweak it and then come back and, I mean,
It's
which
still
is,
tabled.
I mean, it's still
It
tabled.
still has to
okay.
be tabled.
I'll second.
I mean, we sent you all the policy, so if you read it, or, you know,
And I have.
Okay.
Believe me, I've been in this all day yesterday and this morning.
and that's fine, so we have a motion to table.
I'll second.
Commissioner Purvis, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, so between now and then, you need to send us all your concerns so that we can move forward. But we need to make sure that we read everything when we send it to you, so that we're not tabling.
Well, you know,
I have
some of
read
that,
it.
some of this week, y'all send it Friday evening.
Friday.
No, and I know that.
And some of us
So,
have other obligations
Don't
over the
we all?
weekend, yes, we do.
Don't we all?
And
So,
so-
but this is stuff we've been talking about.
not to me, they haven't.
That's right, you're not.
When you trying to mix this with all of this other stuff, and we're trying to decide,
That's
I mean,
why it's on
I mean,
the cheat
it's-
sheet. Okay, personnel management system. This is another one we've been working on. Now, this is one where we're not gonna be able to make a lot of decisions, because it's a lot of information. And in some of these cases, what we have is, we had the Department of Labor, and we had TAC. And some of these are things that we just need to do to simplify. So this part is, all of this is a workshop. We can decide on some things, but basically it's information for you all to take a look at. There are several areas that we would like to get some input from you. So what we've done is we've gone through and provided you with the information that was provided to us by the Department of Labor and by TAC. So as all of you know, everyone in this room that's a county employee knows that our time and our accrual policies are beyond confusing.
reckon?
I reckon. So the different time that we have currently, in addition to regular time, we have vacation, sick, holiday, personal, equivalent comp, FLSA comp, administrative, and emergency leave. I mean, it blows my mind to try to think about it. So there are a couple of areas, that Lori with TAC has gone through and said, you need to streamline this. You've gotta get rid of some of these things. And so has the Department of Labor. So, part of it is that to also minimize some of the confusion is that going to either a 14-day or bi-monthly pay period for everybody, including the sheriff's office and the jail, so that everybody is on the same schedule. So that's one of the things we would like to research. We also would like to have permission from the court to move forward with looking at other counties' policies on how they proceed. If it's bi-monthly, then what if the 15th or the 1st falls on a Friday or Saturday or Sunday? You know, then do they go to Monday? Do they go with Friday? So nobody would be shorted any money, but potentially, if it was a long month, well then your first paycheck would be for 15 days, but your second paycheck may be for anywhere between 14 and 16 days, right? So with time accrual, the Department of Labor finalized their audit for timekeeping and payroll records within the sheriff's office, and no violations were found. But the Department of Labor themselves described our policy as overly cumbersome and confusing, which any of us could have told them that. So Lori Floyd with TAC also recommended significant changes to the time accrual policies, so that both employees, supervisors, and elected officials will understand what it means.
Yeah, even like me being here 25 years, it's been hard to try to explain all of that to your employees, and even with the change, the changes that have occurred, like when Byron started, I started, Milt started, it's way totally different from when we did start.
Well, I think part of what happened is that there was a time accrual policy, and then they just kept adding it and adding it and adding and saying, but what about it? So instead of streamlining it and compiling some things under others, they just added and added and added. And I don't know that for a fact, that's just what it looks like. It looks like this hodgepodge of, oh, well, what about? And instead of streamlining the whole policy, it just became this octopus of all going different directions. So we would just like permission from the court to review what other counties have and take a really hard look at time accrual policies.
I'm all for it. Yeah.
I'll second.
Y'all gonna simplify
Commissioner-
it'd be great.
Commissioner Dugas, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, personal time. Okay, right now the policy is that personal time is accrued for outstanding attendance, and employees that work a full calendar year with up to 8 hours of recorded as sick time receive 3 days of personal time in the following calendar year. So, this is one of the areas that Lori Floyd said, need to take a look at some of these things. So basically what we need to know is, how we do not want to take time away from anybody that has already earned it. So if we reclassify personal time, or if the court chooses to do something different, then, we can still fix it to where it's, personal, outstanding attendance in lieu of personal time? Do you think this is a fair reward? We can move it into vacation time if we decide that you wanna do something different in terms of personal time.
I don't understand it. Because if you have 8 hours, you get 3 days. If you have between 9 and 16 hours, you get 1 day. I mean, or 2 days, and then if you got 17, 20, you get 1 day. Looks like it's completely backwards to me.
They work a full calendar year with 8 hours recorded as sick time, and they receive 3 days of personal time.
No more than 8 hours.
Correct.
6 hours, then they get 3
No
days.
more than 8 hours.
And then if they go no more than 9 to 16 hours,
Then they get
Yeah,
two.
so the less sick time you
Well, they
use,
get
the more
1 day.
personal time.
It says right there.
The less sick time you use, the more personal time.
The less sick time you use, then the more personal time you get the next year.
that's
Yeah.
the sick time.
Right.
That's good.
I know I read it 100 times.
Yeah, I did, but it still ain't made sense.
And I don't think a lot of people do.
Fern, come up here to the front if you don't
Still ain't
mind.
made sense.
That way the recorder will catch you.
Cause how you get 3 days for 8 hours? I mean, that just, I mean.
You don't.
Yeah, I mean, it's just something that was in policy, and those are one of the things that we need to look at, is why is it there? What can we change for it, I feel like personal time could probably be rolled over into wellness, because you're getting rewarded for not missing any sick days. So let's roll it over into something else if we can do that. And we already have vacation as an accrual time, so.
All she's saying is basically, if they had good attendance, did not use more than 8 hours of sick time, then they would get additional 3 days of vacation time. Instead of calling it personal time, it becomes vacation time. So you're consolidating these things instead of having, I've looked at some of those timesheets and I thought, ooh, never mind, send it to Fern.
We have 12, there's 12 different leave accruals that we currently, right now, that we're using.
That they have to input every time.
Yeah, 12. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Okay, so I guess, so here's the question. Can we, if you all like the personal time, if you like the way the personal time is established, which it basically is rewarding employees for coming to work
Yes.
consistently, that's the intent, right? So, is it okay if we take the personal time and roll it in and make it vacation time? So there's no loss of time for anybody, it's just reclassified as vacation time.
Just
I
renaming
don't have a
it.
problem with that.
Just renaming it.
We're just
Just
renaming
rename
it.
it,
Yeah, we're just renaming it vacation time, so that we don't have 2 days personal time over here, 2 days vacation time over there,
Yeah.
equivalent comp, FLSA comp, so we can
Exactly.
eliminate some of these
Well,
categories.
sometimes you don't ever even use personal.
And you're right. We
You
have
know,
right.
people
So I think it'd be a great factor to move it over to
Yeah.
vacation.
that, yeah, we have people that don't even use it, that don't even know that it's out there.
Yeah.
I mean, what is this?
Yeah, we have employees that aren't even aware of it.
Yeah.
Mm.
But this way, when they looked at it, they would see vacation time.
I ain't never seen none of my guys taking personal time.
Yeah, I agree with that one.
Okay, so anyone that currently has personal time coming to them, we would just reclassify it as vacation
Vacation.
time
Yeah, vacation.
at this point.
Right.
And from this point forward, we would move forward as vacation time instead of personal
Personal
time.
time.
Does that come as a motion?
Comes with a motion to me.
Commissioner Dubose,
I'll second.
Commissioner Robertson, all in favor say aye. Any other questions about that?
Can I ask one? So are the deadlines for using all this time gonna change too?
Yeah, we're not gonna take anybody's time away as far as their personal time.
No, I don't mean that, but like regular time's gotta be used by the end of December, FLSA time, they've got a different date that, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am, so this, part of this is what we're reviewing right now.
Okay.
because,
It's
yeah.
just gonna be vacation time.
Nothing's changed.
You can take whatever day you want.
Personal
Just
time is
reclassify.
vacation.
Yes.
Right now, because part of what we're trying to do is we're trying to streamline a lot of this, and which we've already done to some degree when we did the longevity, right? When the longevity went to your anniversary year of being employed, well, then that made a big difference for a lot of people. You know, if I miss a deadline to get my $500 by 2 days, and then have to wait a whole year to get my longevity pay. So part of what we're trying to do is streamline all of these things so that they have a more positive impact on our employees. I can tell y'all, I've never answered a HR question about time. I just always said,
Yeah,
call HR,
because we don't want to take any time away from our employees, that's not.
Right, no,
That's definitely not what we're trying to do. They deserve every bit of time that they've earned, so.
okay. Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, equivalent time. Whew,
there you go.
here we go. Okay, equivalent time. Basically, according to the Department of Labor and to TAG, we are not doing it right. Pretty much.
That's right.
So, equivalent comp is accrued by law enforcement officers and jailers when they work between 80 and 86 hours in a 2-week period. And exempt employees that work more than 40 hours per week. So Ms. Floyd is recommending that at a minimum, we change the name to straight time, but need to consider doing away with it altogether. So, under the provision that was adopted by the court, law enforcement and jailers may work up to 86 hours before accruing overtime. And then we have chosen to compensate them or let them take it later. So that is not required by the law. So the court could choose not to compensate for those hours worked or to revoke the provision altogether, which would then have them accruing overtime for hours worked over 80 in a 2-week period. So they would, we would do away with the equivalent comp, but that would mean that law enforcement and jailers would be paid at 40 hours, and then they would go into overtime after that, with the exception of exempt employees.
Who is exempt employees?
Exempt employees are employees, and that's a whole nother one that we're gonna discuss as well. But exempt employees are like our department heads, chief clerks in some cases. I think we have the foreman, so I think we have right around 40,
Yeah.
is that correct? We have right around 40 exempt employees. And so, by definition though, yes, sir,
At Sheriff's Department's lieutenants and above.
what's that?
Lieutenants and above at Sheriff's
Are
Department.
exempt, okay. And so by definition, an exempt employee receives more compensation, okay, because they will at some point in time be asked to stay later or work more hours. So they have a guaranteed higher salary than your hourly employees do.
Okay.
So, and part of what we can do, which makes more sense, is your equivalent comp, is exempt employee are being paid to do that job. And so if you wanna track whether or not they have worked, basically the law says 80 to 86 hours, is that correct? Okay, so if you have someone that consistently is working beyond those, then the comp would become an internal document. It would be something that elected official would maintain, but that HR would not necessarily track, because those aren't hourly employees. Those are exempt employees.
So they're not gonna be paid any overtime.
Yeah.
And your exempt employees should not be getting paid overtime.
They just get time off.
That's right, and you can still do that, but it won't be tracked by HR.
and if they take their time, they can still submit a leave request. And that way we can take their vacation, if they're taking vacation, or however we decide to do it. That's kind of what we're trying to
That's
hash
kind of
out
what we're
here.
trying to figure out.
Yeah.
Well, if they're not taking, if we're not submitting to personnel, then why would they need to submit?
Well, and that's what we're trying to hash out, is to kind of see what we need to do. Because exempt employees, by law, they don't have to submit a timesheet.
timesheet.
But if we do submit a timesheet, then we need to do it across the board for everybody for exempt employees, not just, one. You got, elected officials are different, but, you guys will submit it for everybody. If we're gonna do it. If not, then not. But we just need to decide if we're going to or not. So either way, it doesn't matter. They're doing it now. But the thing about it is we're having people put on half a day for an exempt employee, and they don't have to. If you come in and work 4 hours, you've completed your day, and you don't have to put on this that I've taken 4 hours.
Do what now?
For an exempt employee, if I come in and work 4 hours, that's my day. I'm an exempt employee. As long as I complete my day, I'm gonna make my time up. It is, yeah.
What she's saying is, she's gonna get her 40 hours in.
Yeah.
But say she works 10 hours one day, she might only work 6
Take
the
4
next
hours.
week. She's still getting her time, but she's modifying her work week.
Right.
Yeah, who's gonna track that?
She
That-
tracks it. She's
They track it
department head.
themselves.
She has to track it, but it has to be, no, it has to be an elected official.
Right.
An elected official is going to be tracking it, but it's not necessarily gonna get sent to HR every time, which is what happens in the sheriff's office all the time.
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same thing for her. She tracks my time. I've got well over 240 comp hours. I can't even track any more comp hours because I'm maxed out. That's it. So, I mean.
Yeah, so it would still be tracked, but it would not be sent to HR to then try to figure out what this means or what goes where, only with exempt employees.
That's up to y'all, I don't have no exempt employees. That's not a concern of mine.
Brad, isn't that an exempt?
You don't have any exempt employees?
I'm not paid by the hour.
I'm trying to think, do you have an exempt employee? Do you have an exempt employee? One of your foremans got. No?
So it would
Our hours turn into
only,
hourly tax.
so it would only affect
So it's just really department heads.
department heads and the sheriff's
These guys
office.
over here, so,
I have an exempt employee.
Yeah, and me and Bobby.
Deputy clerk.
Yes,
yeah, so,
so
Yeah,
it's
y'all
only
do.
general fund is what it boils down to.
yeah,
Okay,
Yeah, I mean, all of ours are paid, hourly paid by the hour.
yeah.
okay.
Thanks the Lord, I understand that.
Too much math for me.
Don't, we've been mathing for a minute.
So the sheriff's office basically has majority of the exempt employees in, right?
Yes.
They do.
So I would be like more or less leaning more towards the sheriff's office on how they would feel as far as what their options would wanna be, you know what I mean?
Well, and that's what we would have to do. We would have to sit down, and go through it with the sheriff's office and the jail to see who's impacted, what would it look like? Because the idea is that if we move towards, it has to all be the same. Either everybody gets paid twice a month, or nobody gets paid twice a month. And I don't think we have enough employees that could go a whole month without getting a paycheck. See, so it has to be an all or nothing. And so that's why we're going through and evaluating every single set of circumstances. And so, yes, we would definitely sit down with the sheriff, with the jail, review it and see, okay, what would happen in this situation, what would happen in this one. So
So if we just need a motion for y'all to discuss and figure it out, then I mean.
all
just
we
go with
need is
that.
a motion for us to move forward, evaluating, seeing what other counties do, and trying to figure out what those internal documents would look like, and how would that be monitored and by whom.
Yeah.
Before anything takes place.
Yeah, oh, yes.
Oh, no, we're not approving this. Right now, we're just asking permission for us, for the court to consider it and for us
Make
to
a
move
motion
forward.
to
Yeah.
I second
move
that. Should
forward.
be stood.
Okay, DeVos and Robertson, any other questions, discussion?
Not yet.
Hang on.
I expect a lot of questions.
That's okay. Okay, now, page 9. I'll have you all out of here. Now we have administrative leave and emergency leave. Okay, administrative leave is used when county offices are closed because of weather emergencies. And typically, some employees, essential employees, will still be reporting to work during this time. But according to TAC and the Department of Labor, there's no need to classify it as administrative leave. It should just be regular time worked, and you go from there. And then.
So what do you do with the ones that don't work?
Well, they're not gonna get paid for those days.
They would get paid. Yeah, they
They
would get
would-
paid.
Excuse me, let me back up. They would get paid for that, but you would have to compensate those people that came in. But it would be re-recorded as regular time. So it would be basically overtime for some of them, for most of them.
So, yeah, so
Yes.
like, if they came in and worked on the ice storm, we had to accrue time for everybody, but like, we came in and worked, so I had 8 hours of administrative leave sitting out there. You know, and anybody else that worked it, y'all got some time
Yes.
sitting out there.
Maintenance,
So.
the treasurer's office, HR, emergency management, myself, a lot of the sheriff's office and jail works through that. And so they receive additional hours compensation for that. But instead of categorizing it as administrative leave, in terms of payroll purposes, it's just regular time.
Now, if I'm following this right, we get called out, we go work.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't get paid extra when we're already supposed to be on the job?
Only if it's when county offices have been closed. Because your employees are gonna come into work, like she and her employees came into work, right? But other people's employees are gonna stay home. So you still wanna compensate those people that came in because they had to come into work. Your group is classified as an essential employee.
I've never been in there.
Oh, well, that's what happens
Yeah.
now. That's what happens right now. All I wanna do is change that name. So we don't have administrative leave, emergency leave, comp. I wanna
We're
get rid
just
of
trying to
one.
narrow it down.
I'm just trying to narrow it down.
From 12 to just a few more, I mean,
We
not
have
not
12 different categories right now. We're trying to get rid of some of those.
Recently, that ice storm,
Yes, sir?
administrative leave, I guess,
Mhm.
nobody came. Now, I think we had to go out 2 or 3 times and do a job. And I'm not even aware of this, but it was a work day, not a weekend,
Right.
so we got paid extra
No.
for having
If
to
it
go
was a
out.
work day, no,
No.
it's
No.
a
But
regular
the person that
day.
stayed home got paid also.
If, so like the ice storm, the county offices were closed.
Right.
Everybody said, judge said, stay home, don't come in. That was a special circumstance. We accrued 8 hours for every county employee. Those of us that had to come in and run payroll, or that had to come in and work the EOC, the jail staff, all of those people, they got time because the county offices was closed. Nobody else came in. But we all had to come in, because we had to get
But you
payroll.
got their regular pay.
So on those days,
Yes,
everyone who took off used that admin time that day.
That's right.
Your employees that came in on that day and worked, they got their regular pay, but on their books, they have 8 hours of admin time to use in the future.
That's right.
Yes.
I have
They
8.
didn't use it that day, but they have it to use
Yeah.
They
future.
accrue that admin.
And it has to be used by the end of this.
That's personal
by
time.
this time
Yes.
next year.
It's another
Advertising.
leave code, like
It's
personal
it's
an
admin.
admin leave.
Yeah.
It's completely
And so
separate.
what we want to do is simplify it to where it doesn't say admin time
No.
versus this one versus that one versus the other one.
They
We
have
just
so
want
many
all of them
different
to-
categories.
Yes, we want all of them to have the same code.
So they wanna make it to where you just, you accrue leave, just accrue leave, it doesn't matter if it's administrative or whatever, you accrue that leave.
Just you accrued leave.
They
And
go
your
straight to
guys-
vacation.
Hmm?
They go straight to vacation.
So the only thing about vacation is if you leave the county, it's compensable, right
But I
now.
mean,
So
is
you
that
don't
why
want-
we
Goes to
accruing
regular.
this time? too?
No, it goes to regular.
Regular time.
That's what it does now. It doesn't go to vacation now. It goes to just accrued time.
For regular time, just regular time. Yeah, they supposed to be here anyway.
That's right.
Well, how do you
Unless
get
it's
extra,
administrative
how do
leave,
you get extra regular time?
That's what I'm.
I mean, they have
Well,
to take a
then
day
they-
off to take that?
So if the county's closed, if it's shut down for an emergency, but there are a few of us that have to come in. We started payroll on that Friday, but then the ice storm happened.
Yes, ma'am.
And the offices were closed. It was an emergency situation. We still had to run payroll. We're essential. There's some of our offices are essential.
Okay, so y'all owe my guys, cause they came in that Monday.
If they came in and worked, then we need to accrue 8 hours for those guys. There are a few offices that have to come in and work. So
I know, just
we
one
add
day.
those 8 hours, accrue means we add those 8 hours to their time. They can use those later. Like me, I
Well, it
put
was-
regular 8
it
hours
was a
worked.
regular- It was a regular day for us, but
Would
now
be.
if we
It
get a
was
storm.
a regular day for
instead
some of us.
But if they close the offices, the main county offices and stuff like that, then we're supposed to work regardless, right? But if we choose to let our guys off, or if they choose to come in, you know, they're just changing the name from admin to regular, and then they're accruing just an additional 8 hours for working that day as well.
And this is not a change from what we currently do. Okay, what we currently do is if every county office closes down, then that's an 8-hour workday, right? Now, I come in, those guys come in, you all come in, because we're essential. We have to come in. And so your guys and all those guys need credit for coming into work when everyone else was staying home.
They're just getting additional
Commissioner, what
time.
they, pretty much, y'all might already got this, but, so they're giving people time off to stay home for safety reasons, and they're paying them.
Yeah, I know.
The guys that come in, they're rewarding them and giving them a day off, another day, because they've already paid all these other people a day off. So they're just giving a day for everybody that come in to take off at a later date.
Correct.
I don't think my guys been getting
I understand it.
I mean, I understand it, but I mean, you know, it's, I mean,
They would have done told you if they wouldn't get you.
They would have
Maybe
called.
Maybe they put it on the time sheets now.
They do, they put it on their time. They put it on their time sheets, but all we wanna do is get rid of some of these categories, just simplify the time
I'm all
sheets.
for it, y'all just need to simplify it.
Commissioner Purvis,
It's a lot.
each one of your employees would have to look at their own time to see what they accrued. I don't believe that there's a way that a department head or anyone can look at that with HR at what everybody accrued. So your guys might have got that time accrued on to use for a later date.
Yeah,
And you wouldn't be aware of it, it just goes on the time.
They should be able to see on their.
Okay, long as they,
on their sheet.
long as they wasn't missing out, I won't.
No, they're not.
My guys been missing out on this.
No, your guys have not been missing out. They just told you to sign off on their time sheets and you did it.
I get paid every month.
No, you don't.
You don't even see the time sheet, what you talking about?
Okay, so we wanna do basically the same thing with emergency leave. And that's when there's a death in the immediate family, then the elected officials should be able to authorize an emergency leave on a case-by-case, up to 3 years per year.
3 days.
3 days.
You said 3 years.
For years.
Oh, 3
I like
years.
that.
3 years per year.
I didn't
I'm all
mind
over
you.
that. 3 days per year. And that would just be kept through HR, but again, they would be reported as regular time. The HR would document that they were not there, available, but
You just don't have to show it on the timesheets.
that is correct.
So move, whatever.
Motion, Commissioner Purvis, second, Commissioner Dubois. All in favor, say aye. Any
Their
opposed?
heads are already
Do
hurting.
you need,
Motion
do you
carries.
need a motion to approve that from admin to regular as well, or?
I did them together.
Okay.
Did that work for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just stay there.
We are filtering through it.
No, you are, that's her.
I
Okay.
left my other book in the office, it's getting big too.
Now let's talk about exempt employees. Okay, per FLSA regulations, exempt employees are compensated on a salary basis by a predetermined amount that is not subject to being reduced because of variations in the quality or quantity of work performed. So they must receive a full salary for any week in which the employee performs any work without regard to the number of days or hours worked. So the exempt employee is still required to receive approval from their supervisor when they will not be at work during normal business hours and may still be docked accrued vacation, holiday, or sick time when they're out for a full day or more. So at this time, we have 40 exempt positions. That's department heads, attorneys, high-ranking law enforcement and corrections, the auditor, the assistant auditor, administrative assistants, certain court staff, and chief deputy clerks. And usually, these individuals, if they are exempt, then you're basically guaranteeing them a salary. Okay, so they're not an hourly employee where their salary's gonna vary or shift. So they are guaranteed a certain salary, and usually they carry a steadier or larger workload, and it would be difficult for them to not complete that workload without outstanding attendance, and they are, basically, you're expected to, there may be times when you do have to put in extra hours. So what I would like for the court to consider, and I realize it doesn't impact you all, but it does impact all the other elected officials, is doing away with the timesheet requirements for these exempt employees. Because that's just an added load for someone that you already know you're gonna pay for the 40 hours for that week, or the 80 hours for that pay period. And it can be 80 to 86 hours without any requirements. And again, this is where we would wanna sit down, you know, with the sheriff's office, since he does have a lot of those employees in the sheriff in the jail. But like right here, you have a lot of people just sitting there in the audience that all fall under the exempt employee status. Everyone over there falls under the exempt employee status. So, and that would become an internal document that elected official would then manage or look at, instead of going back and forth with HR about 4 hours over here and 2 hours over there. That's an internal document that you would control. And like she referenced, you know, you might come in, or environmental enforcement reference, you might do 10 hours one day, you do 6 hours the next, vice versa. And basically with exempt employees, it's supposed to all come out in the wash, because that's their job performance.
I've got one thing, Judge.
Sure.
I would like to take the lieutenants off the exempt. Captains and above are more administrative. But the lieutenants get out and they work patrol, and they do the amount of work that the deputies do. They're not as administrative as captains and above.
And that's not a problem, that's a job description change. So in this case, we're just talking about general exempt, you know, whether it's your department or Bobby or Shalana or anybody. But what you're talking about is basically a change in the job description. And so that's entirely up to you.
How many? How many?
3.
Oh,
I have a question. With exempt employees, if they're wanting to take their vacation time, they would just need to submit a leave request.
Yes.
Signed by me, no more time sheets, just the leave request to document.
yes, that way we can still take away from their leave balances, so.
That would simplify.
It would.
Yes.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Yes, so they would still put in, they would follow the same format, they would give you a leave request, you okay it, you send it to HR, they document it, done.
Easy.
Yes, that's what we're trying to get to. Slowly but surely.
And this isn't stuff that's just to make it easy for HR.
Everybody.
It's for everybody.
Yeah, I mean,
You know, I mean, Byron's people, you know, you've got the largest apartment, and that take a lot of load off of y'all on simplifying some of it. I mean, I know all your stuff's different, but you know what I'm saying, that it's.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. I don't even know how they manage to keep up with all these 12 categories of time. Truly, I don't. It's a lot. So,
Since we're asking questions, just a quick question. So for exempt employees, so you work a day, non-scheduled day. So, you know, normally work Monday through Friday. So if you work a Saturday and Sunday, do you still want a time sheet for those hours worked over, even though that they're?
That be managed by this.
That's
that would
something we
become,
keep internally.
that would become an internal document. So you would submit that to the sheriff, right, and say, I had to come in Saturday and Sunday, and then figure out how you would, you know, make arrangements for that. That work? Is this something we wanna move forward with, guys,
Hash it
or?
out.
Wouldn't that make it easier for like me modifying the work week? Because there's a lot of people I can't contact between the hours of 8 and 5. If I had a issue, instead of having to do a payroll timesheet, I could just send you an
Absolutely, you
email.
just,
I'm gonna work evenings, you know, this 4 hours every afternoon, so then I would come in and work.
You want to modify your own.
Yeah, you can
absolutely,
modify-
see, it would simplify it completely, especially for department heads, especially for the clerks, in terms of their chief deputies, for the JPs, you know, for the sheriff, because then it would just be an email saying, hey,
It's in our office.
right, and then we would document it internally, and so then everybody would know what was going on, so it just creates, it simplifies the whole thing.
Can I just
Yes, ma'am.
reiterate that any exempt employee would still have to have authorization from their elected official before they were not here during normal work days, so.
Yeah,
anytime
you're
that
still
you
gonna
take off, it's still
designate.
authorized.
Yeah, you're still gonna designate, like in the clerk's case, they're gonna say, you need to be here 8 to 5, right? And then if something comes up or something changes, well, then she would take care of that.
Yes. You know, you still
Same
have to get.
same thing with the sheriff, or the jail, you still have a assigned time when you're expected to be at work. Are you okay with that, Sheriff?
I mean, I'm good with what I see, you know, right now. The only thing I'd like to be able to say that if we come across and we start looking at everything, then we'll be able to come back and say, hey, look, we didn't foresee this that's popped up, but just how it's being stated now, yeah, it sounds pretty good.
Okay. So can we go ahead and move on that, and then we will do your job descriptions or the tweaking further down the road?
And also, yeah, the job description for the lieutenants.
Yes,
Yeah, yes,
because we can fix those.
yes.
Okay, then can I have a motion on that?
Motion.
Motion, Commissioner Dubus, Commissioner Robertson, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, paydays.
Yes.
So we're back to the, on paydays, we do not want to make decisions right now, because right now we're still looking at some of the variables, which I think I told y'all that you would have some pay periods where you had 15 days, and then some periods where you'd have 14 to 16 days. And so we want some time, but we want the court to allow us to start looking, and to do payroll for everybody. Part of it is that we are getting more and more grant-funded positions, and especially in the sheriff's office and the district attorney's office. So as we get more and more grant-funded positions, then we need to move towards a more streamlined payroll process.
Do you need a motion to table this till next?
I don't need a motion to table. I want a motion to approve for us to move forward.
To move forward,
In
okay.
looking at what our options are and giving HR, some authorization to figure out how to transition, to bi-weekly payroll or twice monthly payroll, that would streamline the reporting process for grants and for grants and for the auditor, and that would also, allow us to make sure that everybody's taken care of in the process. So I would like a motion to research. Yes. So Commissioner Robertson and Commissioner Purvis, any questions about that? If you have any questions about any of these things or comments, please send them to us before we come back to the court, so we know, if there's something we've missed, then we will handle it. Okay, sick leave pool. Right now, our sick leave pool is pretty sickly, wimpy. The sick leave pool was, one of the things that we had, discussed previously as well. And now we've had, a commissioner that has requested a change to our current sick leave policy. So we went ahead and started, looking at the different options or what the possibilities were. So the statute, we reviewed the statute as well. And at this time, basically our sick leave pool is a first come, first serve. The criteria are probably not as strict as they need to be. It is intended for it to be catastrophic. It has to be if something catastrophic has happened to the employee and they need additional assistance. And they have reached the point where they have no other options. They've run out of vacation time, they've run out of sick time, administrative leave, emergency leave, all those other 12 categories that we have, right? And it's catastrophic. So at this point, they can donate to the pool, but we can modify that. We have the option, according to statute, that they can donate up to 5 days. One of the things that I do think needs to be tweaked with our current sick pool is that some of the counties require you to donate into the sick pool before you're eligible to receive the sick pool. So that's something to think about, to consider. You cannot donate to one specific individual. By statute, you must donate to the pool, and then your pool administrator is who takes that under consideration and makes, does the criteria.
Is that a county law or state law that you cannot donate?
State law.
State law.
And the same thing happens with teachers. You can donate to the pool, but I can't pick you to receive it. That's the whole purpose, is that it goes to a pool for whoever needs it, and it's on a first come, first serve basis. So, here's the statute if you want to look at it. One of the things that I do think, when, in retrospect, when we looked at it, if you'll think about it, that's one of the committees that we select people to serve on. The part of it is that when the committee, personality as a whole shifts or changes, then that's where we've had some issues in terms of, you know, that's my buddy, that's my pal, or, you know, we need to take this, this, and this into consideration, and so we haven't always stuck to the criteria. And that has upset some of our county employees. And so I do think that one of the things that we need to consider is just having a designated person that is the administrator, and make the criteria very, very clear as to what it takes to qualify for that. And Fern, I'm throwing you under the bus.
I'm already the administrator, so.
Yeah, I mean, you are the administrator,
Yeah.
and she's the designated administrator.
And you're doing a fabulous job.
Thank you.
Yes, she is. So, we would like to move forward with modifying our sick leave pool, and making some of those changes. So if you all, would send us any recommendations? You want us just to follow statute?
No, I don't care, y'all just do fix it like y'all want to.
Okay, motion Commissioner Purvis, fix it like you want it.
There we go, okay.
Second Commissioner Dubus.
Oh,
Any more, questions?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Well, first you have to say aye. Motion carries.
Before you say that, don't forget early voting starts Tuesday of next week for the Republican and Democrat primary.
Commissioner Purvis, Commissioner Cassidy, motion to adjourn.
11:21.
11:21. That's the longest